Put your down. Yeah, it's a good boy. Yeah. Oh. Hello, YouTube. For those who don't know what I'm using here, if you're if you own horses, then you know what this tool is. Okay. What it is, it has two sides. Okay. I don't know how well y'all can see this on camera, but this side on the bottom has longer teeth. This side, I flipped it over. So this side, one side has these short teeth right here. They're very, very short. Right? This side right here is very, very long. All right. The short prong side is really for short haired dogs. For those who are now, you know, new to the channel, this little hooligan here, this one, his name is Raid. Wave to the camera. Hi. Put your head down, buddy. Put your head. Oh, wait a minute. Ah, you know what? I'm already down here. Um, for those who don't know, for my new subscribers who don't know, the backstory on Raid, uh, I adopted him from the shelter back in January of this year when he was almost 7 months old. Um, he was a shelter adoption. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. Luckily it had only been there a week when I got him. When I got there, adopted him on the spot. They were like, "Well, are you thinking of fostering or adopting?" I was like, "I would like to adopt if possible." I was like, you got that young puppy out there, the 6-month-old Reed. Um, if there's a way I could adopt him, would like to adopt him because, honestly, in my opinion, a 6-month-old dog does not belong in a shelter. No dog belongs in the shelter, in my opinion. Um, so, like me personally, I prefer to do nowadays, I prefer to do, you know, rescue adoptions or shelter adoptions, mainly because I don't think any dog should have to live in a shelter, no matter how old they are. Um, but, anyways, earlier I gave Mr. Reedstairs here, aka Mr. Floofy, a bath. And it's a dual shampoo system that I have to do on him. The first shampoo that I use is just your regular doggy shampoo. The second one that I use after I use the regular shampoo is a de-shedding shampoo. Now, if you're, a long-haired dog owner like myself, you'll know why using a de-shedding shampoo is critically important for dogs like Reed here who have longer hair or thick, long, either medium, pretty thick hair. Like, you know, put your head down, silly goose. If you're like me and you have a dog that has long hair, then you know how critically important using a de-shedding shampoo is, especially this time of year because they're losing their um, winter coats, and that de-shedding shampoo will not only help loosen up and get those other already loose hairs out, but it'll also loosen up the fibers, dead hairs that are still connected, and it help loosen up and makes combing uh, combing and brushing out a lot easier. Now, to anybody that doesn't own one of these little bristle brushes, get one. Because I use it quite regularly on him and on this little hooligan. Uh, but his tail is a little more thicker than usual. I got scissors here. Gonna have to trim his paws up because his paws need to be trimmed. Uh, but then again, this is the first time I've actually ever. Hello, hello, hello. But this is the first time that I've actually ever done a live video of me combing him out. Uh, Normally, y'all just see shorts and stuff like that. I mean, there is that one video of his first bathing with me back. I think it was in either late January or February. I can't remember. It was around that time that I got him. Um, but we gotta trim his paws up. But so yeah, so like I figured I would bring y'all along for this one because this is something I generally don't show. You know, uh, see, this is the tricky part because he likes to twitch, so I have to go very, very carefully because he's very sensitive sometimes. So, uh, but he's, you know, for the most part, he's gotten used to it. As you can tell, he's gotten used to me trimming his spots for the most part. He's still getting used to it, but there's also a reason why I do this myself, and I don't let groomers do it because I know for a fact that he's okay with me doing it. I just don't. I wouldn't know how he would react towards um, the groomer because the groomer is going to use an electrical razor that's was for dogs. Um, I I don't use that tool mainly because I don't freaking have that, and plus with these shears here, I can have a lot more control of the scissors, and I'm not, and that way, so I can make sure that I'm not, hitting his pads with with the thingamajiggy. Um, Granted, it does take a little bit longer to do, but for the most part, he's gotten used to it. He knows the drill. For the most part, obviously, I mean, he's still getting used to, uh, he's still getting used to getting his paws cleaned up and everything else, which is no big deal. I mean, it's nothing new. Let's see. Um, but yeah, but like what I like to do, like y'all can't really, I don't know if y'all how well y'all can see this, but you can check the camera. So like right here, you see how he has this trail of hair. So what I like to do is just kind of comb it out a little bit. Let me grab my comb here. Yep, there we go. So um, see, it's completely uneven right there, right? So what I like to do is, just to I like to, you know, trim it up a bit, make it kind of more uniformed. Before, uh, mind you, I have to do this on every single leg because he's a long hair, and yes, I do actually trim around his ears as well, um, which is actually a little bit more difficult because I have to actually pin him down somewhat to actually properly do it without causing injury to his ear or his earlobe. Um, but as you can see, that just came off his hind quarter right there on his right one of his legs. So, which is no big deal. Now, one thing I like to do also is just trim around his legs. You know, right? So, one other area that I have to do is his big floofy tail of his. Um, Mainly because that is an area where I've actually caught sticker burrs in here. I've caught twigs. I've caught grass clippings in here, all in his booty area. Which is nothing against him. It's not his fault. He's got long hair. Um, it's just that I have to be. Will you stop moving your flipping tail, boy? Thank you. I just have to be a little bit more vigilant than normal, especially this time of year, because down here in Texas, um, we have something called bird sticker burrs. I call them bird burrs, are foot cripplers. Um, and so he actually, and that's part of the reason why I have to trim his paws out because he has gotten them in his paws before, more times than I would care to admit that he's gotten them in his paws. Um, and normally, most of the time, you could tell because they'll start limping on one leg. They'll pull that one leg up because there's that burr in there. And every dog's going to get burrs in their feet, especially if you live in an area like I do that has plenty of burrs. Um, eh, um, which but with him being a long-haired dog, it's a little bit more. I had to be a little bit more vigilant than normal because he's going to pick up a lot more than your average pupperino. He's going to pick him up in his fur, and that's unavoidable for long hairs. It's going to happen. If it hasn't happened already, it's going to happen to you. Um, this part does take the better part of 30 to 45 minutes, if not longer, to do. Um, the last time I did comb him out, it took almost an hour fully to get it completely done. Um, because he was losing so much hair that it actually took a couple of rounds of combing, even though I had lathered him up pretty good with uh, the shedding shampoo. Um, he was still losing hair, which I really wasn't mad about because that just showed that that shampoo was working. And plus, this was back in March when I did that massive combing. And I did post that on my Instagram, I believe, and my TikTok. I can't remember. I know, buddy. I know. I know. It's not the funniest thing in the world. I know, Bubbers. Go over here, you. But another area that I like to do is around his ears, um, and around his face. But it does get a little thick in this area, so I have to be a little bit more careful when it comes to uh, doing it. Granted, I know that there are faster ways of doing this. Um, like there's these tools that you can buy on Amazon that will. Oh, I know. You just stick right there, buddy. You get them to care. Oh, what? I'm sorry. I know that they sell those things on Amazon that help. Um, I personally don't use them. Um, or haven't bought them yet because I prefer to do it hands on like I am now. Because this way I know what areas I've hit, um, and what areas I have not hit. Um, See, even now, this is where I'm talking about. He's really sensitive in his front paws. Again, this elbow between his elbow and his wrist, I'm just going to trim up a little bit because it is getting a little uneven here. Uh, I am by no means a barber. If y'all can't already tell, I'm in no means a barber. Uh, I'm just doing my best to keep him maintained. Um, I'm just doing my best to make sure that he doesn't get any mats in his hair because he is more likely to get mats in his hair because he's a longer hair breed. So, you know, now this is the area where I have to be extremely careful because he is extremely sensitive in the front paws. Um, but if you do have a pet that is sensitive in the front paws like he is, what you can do is just slowly pet their paws as you're doing it. And that helps calm them down. For the most part, again, it doesn't always work. Uh, you know, Sometimes you have to stop and come back to it later. Um, but if you just slowly pet their paw, especially if you're doing this at home, you know, just slowly pet their paws and um, just go, just go off what your dog tells you to do. Now he's still very, very fidgety with me doing it, even though it's been almost 6 months that I've had him. I've had him for almost half of his life. And he's getting better at this, but he is still uh very sensitive with his paws, which is completely understandable because this is not normally something dogs have to endure out in the wild. If he was in the wild like this would never happen. He wouldn't be maintained like this, his hair would be all over the place. It'd be matted and everything else, right? So dogs naturally and genuinely don't like to be they're very, very sensitive in their paws. Now, I'd like to go around the ears a little bit. Not too much, not too crazy, but the first thing I do before I even start cutting is I just check. Now, like right here in the inside, he's got a little bit of a hair growth that needs to be trimmed back a little bit. This is where you have to be extremely careful, because one wrong move you can nip him and it can bleed. Um, this is where accidents are more common to happen, or more likely to happen in around the ears, because of there are just so many nerve endings in the ear. But what I do is I just grab the very, very tip of his ear, and when I flip it over, like here, I got this little flip right here, right? Dogs find it relaxing when you pet their ears. So this helps also calm him down when I'm next to his ears like that with a pair of bloody shears, Um, so this helps keep him calm down. Now, another thing that I do sometimes is I'll actually just I'll leave my arm near his nose, like right here. So that way he can he'll be able to smell me and may actually stay calmed down for the most part. Now, again, it doesn't always work, immediately. Sometimes you have to go back and actually do it again, because they're moving too much. But for the most part, you're a good boy. Yes, you are, Borbers. You're a good boy. Um, now, now what I gotta do is I actually gotta flip him over because I ain't done with you yet, buddy. Mainly because I gotta do this side that's closest to me here. Uh, but what I'm gonna do is just shake out some of all this loose hair here on this side. Ooh, you get a good boy. And and flippity floppity floop. He's a good boy. And just like that, he's flopped over. Um, I'm just gonna finish coming this side out to pretty much the best of my abilities. Um, and then just do exactly what I did on the other side to this side. Again, I'm just yeah. But right now, I'm just ooh, lay down, boy, lay down. There you go. There you go. Um, so he's got something matted right here, right? So, so in this section right here, he's got a little bit of a mat issue. No biggie. This is part of the reason why it's either that it's just probably tangled up, isn't it, buddy? Yeah. Hey, no bites. Yep, there we go. See, that's all that hair that just came off that one little section. Can you stop getting in the camera? I'm trying to share this video with people. Okay, he's got a okay, something's up right here. Okay. Okay, so Now, de-shedding shampoo doesn't always work when it comes to tangles like this. No big deal. What I like to do is, so if I find a tangle like this, right? So what I will do, I don't know if y'all can be able to see this. Like right in this section right here, he's got a knot, right? Or a couple of tangles in his hair, right here. What I like to do is I'll just start from the very end here, right? And just start working in. And what that does is that allows um it helps loosen up the hairs, right? And as you can see, I'm just doing short, quick motions, right? Um, and what that's doing, it's yanking that hair and loosening it up, like right here. See, you can hear it somewhat. I don't know how well y'all can hear that, but that's tangling. That's just tangled hair, and that's part of the reason why I'm going in short, rapid succession fire like this. Um, because it what it does is it's pulling the hair untangled, and it's causing I'm not having to constantly trying to pull the hair, and what that's going to do is going to yank the skin and it's going to hurt. That it's going to hurt. Um, so it's a little irritating on the skin for him to actually sit here and deal with it, but um, it has to be done. He doesn't like getting combed. See, like right here, that's all tangled hair. So let me show you what I do. I just start from up here closer to the top and just work down, further down, and bam. Just like that, it's almost gone. Now it's still a little bit tangled, but uh 99% of the knot is gone. Or at least 90% of it at least is. Um and this, I'm really where I'm at is I'm at the base of the tail, which, I'm not all that surprised that this area is tangled. Like it is, but it's just gonna take a little work to get it untangled. That's the as my daddy used to say back in the day, practice makes perfect. Um, patience, patience is a virtue in this when you're doing this. You cannot rush this because then when you start rushing doing this, what's going to happen is that you're either going to miss knots or you're going to cause pain to your dog, which is the last thing you should be doing. Um, it shouldn't be a painful experience for the dog because I guarantee you, if you make it to where it's painful, they're not going to want to do it. They're not going to be as willing to do it. They're going to run every time they see you bring the comb out. Now with Reed here, he isn't a big fan, but I've made it to where I put him into a position to where he feels comfortable. I mean, as you can tell, he's just laying here for the most part. Occasionally he'll look back and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" Um, I kind of figure out what's going on and everything else, which is fine. But as you could tell, for the most part, he's just laying here. He's taking it because what I've done is I've done this so many times and I've made it to made an experience that he knows that he's okay, and that I'm not going to do any sort of irreversible damage to his hair. And he also knows that I have to do this. See, shit, I ain't doing yet. Ah, this is why I say you need to get one of these shin combs. Um, I mean, he isn't a big fan of this brush, but I don't care. Um, See, this is all just hair. Now, what I do is I take my comb here, and there you go. The better part of an eighth of an inch of hair, give or take. Does this make a mess all over my RV? By all means, yes, it does. Um, but I'd rather have a mess all over my RV, a hairy mess all over the RV than him having knots. If I'm being perfectly frank here. Um, Plus, I'm gonna need to clip his nails too. Because I just realized his nails do need to be clipped. Which means, give me a moment, I gotta go get his clippers. Stay. Where you going, Bubbers? Alrighty. Come here, Poochie Poo. Come here. Come on. Get back over here. Ooh, yeah. Stay down. Yeah, you good boy. Alright. Let's put you on your shed. Okay. So, again, with the legs here, as you can see, got all this hair right here. I just like to bring it all out, comb it out, and then just trim it up a bit. Now, if you're wondering why I'm clipping up in near around his nails, you'll actually see why here in a moment. But I'll explain. It's so that way I can actually better see his nails in the front. Because he does have long hair, so um, um, and it does exceed over his nails. So it makes it a little bit difficult for me to actually see how far back I need to go when it comes to clipping his nails. Because you can't go all the way back. Um, can only go so far with a dog's nail uh, before you actually cause blood to be drawn. Um, Ask me how I know. I actually don't. Um, Unlike my dad, I'm a lot more careful because that man would cut the dog. He would cut him so far back that he would actually draw blood. Um, the dog will pull back and he would still try to go after the nail and it would cause blood. Um, you know, um, but for the most part, this foot's actually good. I think it's just this paw that needs to be clipped. Yeah, need to be brought back. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. This is where it gets a little difficult because he does love to yank. So before I do this, I'm going to show you. So okay, so as y'all can see, there's two sections of color on this nail, right? So you see where this white end ends right here? That's as far back as you can go when it comes to clipping their nails, because that is a blood cell. Um, nope. I don't know why I was grabbing the scissors. Um, any further back than that, you will draw blood. Um, um, so you know, you're probably wondering, Dan, why don't you just go to the groomer and have them do this? I'm not spending $60 on something on a groomer when I can, oh, when I can do it myself. Now, granted, uh, I know, buddy, it was a long nail. I know. You didn't draw any. We didn't draw no blood. You're good. Yeah, it's all right. Normally, I would generally I would take this dog to the groomer, right? Um, but I'm not going to spend the money on getting him groomed when I can just do it myself. Um, I mean, I'm going to do the exact same thing a groomer is going to do anyways. So like, why take him to the groomer when I can do it at home? Now, granted, ooh, you're a good boy. Now, as you can see, he jerked just then. Um, and that's fairly normal. It's okay for him to jerk like that. Um, but oop, yes, yeah, I know, I know. Come here, Fluffy. Oh, you good boy. But yeah. But honestly, look at this fluffy boy. Ooh, he's a fluffy boy. But when it comes to these long hairs, you got to be a little bit more diligent when it comes to grooming them at home compared to uh doing it at having a groomer. I mean, heck, we've been going at for hey Eddie. Um but actually Eddie, I just got done grooming him. Um but like, I mean, granted, we've been going for almost 35 minutes now. That was when I'd already started, and so I was already about 15 minutes in to his, into his comb down. Um, then I was like, you know what? I might as well just make this a YouTube video, right? And um, kind of show people all behind the scenes. Because I realized y'all never actually seen him getting combed down. Y'all don't only seen him getting bathed. Um, but due to because he has to do a double shampooing, his regular shampoo to get all the dirt and grease and everything else out. Um, and then he had to get a the de-shedding shampoo. Um, that does take the better part of 15 to 20 minutes because he does not like to stay still, and he's a long hair, so it does take. I have to actually, work the shampoo in, especially the de-shedding stuff, to actually allow it to actually uh get in and start actually working. And then, and I have to do one side at a time. I like to do one side at a time when it comes to doing it that way because like I'm not going to constantly spin him around every 2 minutes trying to shampoo him when I can do one side at a time. So like, he's a good boy. Mm, but he looks so shiny. Look at him. He's a shiny boy. He's a shiny baby. But I don't use any sort of like oils or anything like that right now. I love you too. Yeah, I love you too, buddy. You're a good boy. You're done. Yeah. you're done. Yeah. But like I like to tell him that he's done, so that way he can relax and moving around and everything else. Um, Now throughout the remainder of the day, I'm going to comb him. Um, as the rest of this hair comes off, I'm going to just continuously, just occasionally from time to time, run a comb through his hair real quick. Um, See how it's doing, and then hold on, yeah, but this is all from one dog, one little munchkin. But compared to his last combing, that's not half of what he pulled. His last comb out was probably double that in size. Um, which is one of the reasons why I don't do it on the bed. I do it down here on the floor because that boy, this little hooligan, sheds like my mother's fucking ass, and she's a bitch. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you know, you know, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Um, but yeah, I hope everybody has a great rest of y'all's day.